is presented by Sky Vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Tony. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are engaged. Could you imagine marrying a royal?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. No, what the Queen and I had was purely physical.
Okay, I'm going to dance right away from that.
Why?
You want to acknowledge?
She actually wanted to get married, and I said, no, it would cause such disharmony in the entire United Kingdom.
That husband, the royal husband, what was she going to do with him?
Prince Philip?
Yeah.
Send him packing. Get him out of town.
By the way, you want to tell people where Meghan Markle went to school?
I dread to say it's probably Northwestern.
Probably?
Oh, God.
Probably.
More Northwestern.
Not Binghamton.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, was Tennessee right to bail on Greg Schiano? Can anyone keep up with the Eagles? And is it time for Alex Smith to sit?
God, no.
But we begin today with the biggest news in sports over the long holiday weekend, the fall of Alabama. Auburn convincingly beat Alabama and their overrated quarterback, Jalen Hurts.
Anybody rating them?
Not only did Alabama lose, but so did Miami, falling to a 4-7 Pittsburgh team. Now, Wilbon, you have consistently predicted the demise of all undefeated teams.
Accurately.
So what is your top four right now?
And you can have these four in any order you want because it doesn't matter, really.
What's the four?
I think I would go Clemson 1. I think I would. And I think I would go number 2. You could put Oklahoma 2nd or 3rd. I want Wisconsin in the other spot. Okay, right. So Wisconsin is in my top 4. I don't want to see any poll. I don't want to see any grouping by anybody that has Wisconsin out of the 4th spot.
What is your 4th team?
Who did I just leave out?
Auburn.
I'm not putting Auburn first. I know they have wins against 2 number ones this year, and that is incredibly rare if it's ever happened.
I have them first.
Auburn goes 3rd or 4th.
I have them 1. Because you can't do any better than demolishing 2 number 1 teams in the span of 3 weeks.
You know what? They lost 2 games.
I understand that early in the season. What does your eye tell you right now after the way they handled Georgia and the way they handled Alabama?
They tell me Alabama
Clemson,
might not be that good.
I have Oklahoma, and then I have Wisconsin. And I will say this to you out loud. If Wisconsin beats Ohio State, they're absolutely in without any question. The Alabama now needs help. I'm watching that game. Mike, I'm watching that game. I could not believe their running plays. You hand the running back the ball, and he waits 2 or 3 seconds to see what's going to happen.
Let me ask you
what are you doing?
Who the hell did Alabama beat this year? What's
LSU?
Their big win? That's their
Florida
big
State, they
really?
thought would be better.
Florida State is now under 500. So what have they done?
No.
People talk about Wisconsin's strength of schedule. Where's Alabama's strength of schedule? They played a big-time team, and they lost.
Let's look at this for a second. Okay, there are 2 elimination games coming up for certain. Clemson, Miami, the winner is in, the loser is out. We agree on that?
No, the loser is definitely out.
Loser is out.
Miami's not a lock to be in.
The loser is out.
Loser's out.
Okay, the other
Big 12. TCU, Oklahoma.
No.
Loser's out.
No. Oh, yeah, the loser is out of that, but the winner isn't automatically in.
Right, we agree
TCU
on
isn't
that.
automatically in.
That's right.
If Ohio State beats Michigan, Ohio State with 2 losses is not.
Loser's out.
Well, the winner could be out, too. I'm saying that's where Alabama gets back in.
My point is, Alabama
is a one-loss team.
2 of those 3 scenarios to happen for me. I don't want to just hear Alabama's automatically in because they're Alabama.
If the winner of Georgia-Alabama is in, the loser is out.
Georgia-Auburn, I'm sorry.
Well, I think is the number 1 team in the country.
I could live with that. Get off Wisconsin. You and your ilk. How many undefeated teams in America today? Of the Power 5 conferences, how many?
Central Florida.
Power 5.
Well, I guess Wisconsin.
Thank you.
Did I just say less than a minute ago? If they win, they're in.
Thank you. Got me defending cheese.
But if they lose, they're out.
Let's go from the sublime to the ridiculous, meaning the University of Tennessee coaching mess. Despite saying that Greg Schiano received the highest recommendations for character, family values, and commitment to academic achievement from his previous employers, Tennessee backed away from an apparent deal with Schiano. On-campus protests relating to Schiano's supposed association with the Penn State Jerry Sandusky scandal unraveled any possible agreement. Tony, what do you make of what Tennessee has done here?
Okay, this is very complicated. I think this is the biggest story, in sports right now, to me anyway. It is disturbing to me that a mob mentality got on social media and won and succeeded in getting rid of Greg Schiano, and it included
using hearsay.
Yes.
Using what amounts to third-hand hearsay.
Yes. I'm even more disturbed about the lack of due process in this on Greg Schiano, because Mike McQueary, in his deposition, said that a former coach at Penn State had named Greg Schiano as having witnessed.
He said somebody else named him.
Witnessed Jerry Sandusky do something in the shower to a young boy. Both the person who was quoted and Schiano said that this never happened. So if he is innocent, he's out of a job without any sort of due process. Now, clearly, there's a lot of people at Tennessee that don't want Schiano, and they may be right. He may not be a good enough coach for Tennessee. I mean, I can understand that. But to me, this AD is in a gots-to-go situation.
What's only true?
What is this AD doing? You can't let him pick the next coach.
I don't even care about the AD. A lot of things bother me about this. One, I look at these protests on campus from Knoxville, and my feeling is half the people there don't even know who Joe Paterno and Jerry Sandusky are anyway. They couldn't identify them in a lineup. That they are using this because they don't want Schiano. And then it becomes convenient, Tony. So I think it's just intellectually lazy for the University of Tennessee without that. Tony, if they vetted him, if they did all they said they did and were satisfied about his character and his commitment, then why back down if you did that?
It's very difficult to see all these signs that say Greg Schiano personally condoned the molestation of young boys. But on a college campus, you cannot have a coach who is suspected of it. But what happens to him now? Does he have to leave Ohio State? Will he ever get a head coaching job?
As a head coach for years.
Nobody knew about this.
After this happened. I know the report hadn't come out then. I get that.
Had not come out. What happens to him now? Does he get a head coaching job anywhere? Does anyone affiliated with the Paterno-Sandusky teams,
so people have to do some homework and stick to what they learned? Not just, as you said, let a mob mentality going off only third-hand.
I don't know.
Hearsay.
If the accusations are true, then you should not have him as a coach.
Okay, but I don't know that. Do they know that?
Let's move to the NFL, specifically the jumble in the NFC right below the Eagles. The Rams beat the Saints. The Panthers beat the Jets barely. The Vikings beat the Lions back on Thanksgiving. Which of these three teams, and let's make it four, let's include the Saints, has the best shot against the Eagles, who, by the way, stepped on the collective throats of some irrelevant franchise yesterday?
You can make the Eagles out to be the 85 Bears if you want.
Well, I didn't.
But they're not.
I didn't.
And they're not the 87 Redskins, and they're not the 86 Giants. Okay. And then, so let's not go crazy with what the Eagles are at this point. They're the best team in a really watered-down league. The best team in it.
Patriots are the best.
No, the Eagles are the best team right now. So regardless of that, Tony, I will put the Vikings in that class. I'll say the Vikings are even with the Eagles. I mean, they're behind them. And I think the Rams and the Saints, I'm not talking about in terms of record. I'm talking about in terms of the eye test, looking at performance and looking at those teams and thinking, who can challenge them? What would I think if I was a betting man and I'm not going into a game on a Sunday with those teams?
Let me give you the schedules coming up, because this is pretty exciting. In the next 2 weeks, the Vikings are at the Falcons. The Panthers are at the Saints. The Eagles play the Seahawks. And the following week, the Saints play the Falcons.
The
Vikings play the Panthers, and the Eagles are at the Rams. So to me, any of those teams that goes 2-0, they're my team. And if the Eagles beat the Seahawks and the Rams, it's over. It's over at that point.
The hysteria now to proclaim the Eagles the next great thing is like saying Notre Dame was going to run the table.
You said they were the best team in the league.
They're the best team now. It doesn't mean they're that much ahead of the teams I just mentioned.
What if they beat
the Vikings?
If they beat
I know they beat the Rams. If they beat the Rams at home, they better hold on to that. And they got the head-to-head tiebreaker there. But I'm just saying, Tony, we got some football to be played, and they do face each other. So let's not award them. You want to crown? What did Denny Green say?
You want to crown their blank? Yeah. Go ahead and crown them. Okay. They are who we thought they were. Okay. I have two things to say. One is that I usually like teams with quarterbacks. And so I would normally, really good quarterbacks.
Get rid of the Vikings
I know I would eliminate the Vikings. I would eliminate the Rams, except that Jared Goff's playing great. And they have the most exciting offense of all.
Jared Goff has averaged more yards per game passing over the last X number of weeks than anybody in the league, including Tom Brady.
Whatever the Seahawks are paying Russell Wilson, it's not enough.
No, it isn't.
Because he's their best runner. He gets out of jams. He's their best player.
He is, Tony. What in the world has happened to the Kansas City Chiefs?
Don't know.
After winning their first 5 games of the season, the Chiefs are now 6-5, lost at home to Buffalo yesterday. There's such despair in Kansas City after the Chiefs scored 10 measly points against the Bills that people are imploring Andy Reid to bench Alex Smith and go with a rookie, Pat Mahomes, who hasn't practiced with the first team and was said the night he was drafted to be a project, ready to play in a couple of years, maybe. Tony, you think Andy Reid would be so desperate as to bench Alex Smith right now?
How long has Andy Reid been a head coach in the league? 15, 20 years at this point?
I was going to say 15 plus,
yeah,
right?
15 plus. So that would make him different than your boy Sean McDermott at Buffalo, who decided he would bench Tyrod Taylor and put in Nathan Peterman. Now, that experiment has ended because Tyrod Taylor was on the winning side.
I hope they missed the playoffs by one game. I hope Buffalo misses by one game.
Here's what I'll tell you.
The one game he put Peterman in.
If you're asking me
idiotically
what happened to the Chiefs, I don't know. Because they were 5-0, and Alex Smith had 11 touchdown passes and no
12.
picks.
I thought it was 12-0.
And he was the MVP at that point. And they were averaging 33 points a game with a great tight end and a great rookie running back. And in the next 5 or 6 games, they averaged 18. So I don't know.
You authored one of my favorite all-time sayings. The other people have coaches, too.
They do.
Okay? And so they got hip to Kansas City. They took a lot of things away that Alex Smith was able to get away with in those first few weeks. Tony, here's what Andy Reid isn't going to do. He's not going to be Sean McDermott. He's not going to be so dumb as to not understand that a good quarterback can't have 2 or 3 bad weeks. You think all these people suggesting they bench him, do they think Roger Staubach? Do they think Fran Tarkenton? Do they think that Joe Montana never had 2 bad weeks or 3 bad weeks in a season? Those guys, Marino, you name the quarterback, Bradshaw, they have bad weeks.
Here's what's troubling about Alex Smith and the Chiefs at the moment. They don't score any points.
Okay.
Buffalo had given up 101 points in 2 games, and the Chiefs at home only got 10. Something is wrong there.
Yes.
And something is wrong with Alex Smith as well.
The solution.
I doubt it right now.
That's all that matters.
I doubt it right now.
Tony, anytime you're not 16-0, you've got a bad patch. And that bad patch can be explained by, we're not doing this.
And but
it doesn't mean you change your quarterback.
I think they're still ahead in the division. They're still ahead.
By a game, they are.
2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL had 2 of their best games yesterday. Antonio Brown had 10 catches for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. Julio Jones went higher. He had 12 catches for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. Each had a signature catch yesterday. Brown going to the sideline late. Jones extending the ball over the pylon for a touchdown.
Turned him around.
Wilbon, which was better?
Tony, these guys are so great. I mean, they may be 1 and 2. There's so many great receivers in the league right now. I talked about a watered-down product where the players are as great as ever, if not greater, to me, is that wide receiver. And it's hard for somebody at my age to put anybody in the same breath as Swan and Stallworth if they're wearing that uniform. And yet, I know he doesn't have to go against Raiders who have weapons at the line of scrimmage to beat him down. But once he gets off the line, he's as great as Swan and Stallworth. I'm going to pick Brown, but if you take Brown off the board, I'll take Julio Jones.
I will tell you that Brown's catch looked harder. And Chris Collinsworth said it may be the best catch he's ever seen. But one of the reasons it looked harder was because Julio Jones had faked the guy literally off his shoes.
Out of his underwear.
And so then his catch looks easier.
You say lingerie on the deck?
His catch looks easier, but then when he goes to the pylon, he's Bobby Orr. It's a remarkable play. And in terms of, there are those 2 guys. There's Des Bryant, there's Odell Beckham Jr., there's A.J. Green, and all of them week after week after week, except Beckham who's out. Yeah. You know, they make catches where you go, wow, you just go, wow.
You can't believe it. And that's why I'm invoking the name of guys. We thought that nobody was going to be more graceful than Lynn Swan, right? There was a 30-year period we thought that guy has set the standard for that. Here's the bar. And now it seems like Antonio Brown, every other catch, he's up there.
Pittsburgh makes you nervous. You don't like him as much as you should.
Because they're not paying attention all the time. That worries me.
Time for a break. Coming up, America's fun couple, Aqib Talib and Michael Crabtree, were already ejected. Do they deserve to be suspended as well?
I love that fight. Just how excited should cheeseheads get about that man, Aaron Rodgers, throwing long passes before last night's game?
I'm sure that makes people happy when they